Good morning, Denton, and welcome to the Denton Insider, where we are here to advocate, educate, and collaborate on behalf of the Denton business community. My name is Randy Skinner. I'm your host this morning. I currently serve on the Chamber Board of Directors, and as a member, I represent RS Consulting. So welcome to the Denton Insider. We've got a great show ahead, an awesome program. We have Cassandra Berry with Friends of the Family that's going to be talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But before we dive into that, let me just give you a few updates and your chamber scoop. So coming up this month in October, we have the Business Networking Luncheon. And the great news is that you can attend this luncheon virtually. If you're wanting to learn more about how to connect with the luncheon, head over to denton-chamber.org. Luncheon's going to be October 13th at 11 o'clock. For members, it's actually free to attend. And even if you're not a chamber member, we'd still love to have you come on over. And it's only $5. So we're going to do some virtual networking. It's bring your own lunch. You can hang out in your office or your living room. It's up to you. Our speaker for this program on the 13th is going to be Chris Henry with Miner and Jester and Carol Wolfram. And they're going to be talking about options the sole proprietors and small businesses have under the bankruptcy code in light of the pandemic and its efforts and its effect on businesses. So again, head over to denton-chamber.org to learn more about your luncheon. So that is your chamber scoop for this morning. We are excited to have Cassandra Berry on. Good morning, Cassandra.
Good morning, Randy.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well in the midst of this pandemic. Thank you for asking.
Yes. We've got a lot of, it looks a little different than, I know you came on the podcast, I think last year, and we got to, be all snugged up on each other.
Yeah.
It's a little different this year, but we're really glad you're here. So for those of you that don't know, Cassandra is one of the community educators over at Denton County Friends of the Family. And so Cassandra, I want to toss it over to you. I'd love for you not only to just tell us about your role at Friends of the Family, but you kind of are known in Denton for some creative, artistic. So tell those folks that maybe don't know you and haven't had the opportunity to get to know you in Denton about business.
Okay. Well, thank you, Randy. And again, thank you for inviting me back. Like you said, it's different from what we had before, but still the message is going out just the same. And so we're appreciative of that. Again, I'm Cassandra Berry, and I'm one of the community educators with Denton County Friends of the Family. And I've been on staff there for a little bit over 3 years. I celebrated my third year within the midst of the pandemic, but I've been associated with the organization by being a part of volunteering for a number of years. In my role as community educator, like everybody's having to say, we're doing a little differently, but we go out and we make presentations about the realities of domestic violence and sexual assault. And we do those presentations as early as pre-K all the way up to adults, because it's really important for us to get the message out and start establishing or planting seeds of information about healthy relationships. I do that for all of the community, and then I get to target specifically under our Community Matters program, the African American population, because of the rate by which we experience domestic violence, 35% greater than our Anglo cohorts. And I have since started also doing targeted outreach into the Latinx community for that very same reason. And so we are reaching far and wide as much as we can to let people know what domestic violence is all about. And, Randy, knowing our agency, most people are familiar with, the physical and the sexual abuse, but we go out and we give presentations to talk about the verbal and the psychological abuse too, because as the definition that we use, it's an intentional pattern one uses to gain and maintain power and control over a person with whom they've been in a relationship or were previously. So that power and control can come in the form of verbal abuse, psychological abuse, and then, of course, the physical and sexual. So if we start targeting populations to start giving information about healthy boundaries, what consent is, and they start experiencing maybe this at the verbal and psychological levels, they know that they can get help. And hopefully that won't escalate all the way up to the physical and sexual forms of abuse as well. And we do that for all of Denton County. And because the information is so important, anytime we are asked to go outside of Denton County, we welcome that opportunity as well. Via Zoom at this time, though.
Yeah, so via Zoom is great because everybody can just jump on at their own leisure and convenience, right?
Absolutely.
Well, so I know that one of a huge part of the prevention efforts that y'all are doing is in the school communities and schools all across Denton County. So how many how many presentations do y'all typically do within a year?
We do in excess of about, I think, 1,200 presentations. And we, go all across, like I said, Denton County and beyond. And because we've been able to do a lot of the things that we're doing now virtually, we've seen up to 5,000 viewers for our programs that we've done virtually.
Well, that's a really encouraging because, educating folks is definitely the mechanism for preventing domestic violence, or at least one of them here in our community. So one of the reasons that we're chatting this morning is because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So why is that something that's important? As a community, why is this something that we need to learn more about and get behind?
Well, as a community, what we need to know is that domestic violence affects everyone. So often people will say, well, it doesn't happen within my family or my community, but we're all impacted by domestic violence, even if it's not a family member, a friend, or someone that we know. And then the impact that it has on the economics that show on an average $8.3 billion a year, because that is a result of increased medical costs as well as lost productivity, then we're all impacted by it. And so it's important for everyone to know. And as our slogan is for this year is to hashtag take a stand against DV for that very reason. Our agency, this is a 40-year labor of commitment to our community. We are celebrating our 40th year anniversary. September 17th was our birthday day. And so we've been doing this and, quite successfully for the last 40 years. And in our mission statement, we talk about providing compassionate and comprehensive services. And that's a driving force for our agency. And so when we talk about that, we also talk about establishing partnerships because of the vast geographic area that we cover. It's critical for us to have partnerships. It's critical for us to have volunteers. It's critical for us for every means that we have available to us to share the message and to have as many people, partners, volunteers, community members helping us take a stand against domestic violence. So bringing everyone together within this month, even though it's an ongoing thing, helps to solidify, it helps to show unity for those who may be impacted, especially for those who feel like, I will have to go through this alone, or, isolation is real big among persons who have been or victims of domestic violence. So to know that there's a community out there that will provide support to them, and those services that we offer are all free with the exception of one, and that's that service where there's a fee involves the persons who are the abusers, but all of our services are free regardless of socioeconomic status or the ability to pay. So we think it's important for as many people we can get on board to take a stand to do that, because we're in this, as the saying go, not to be cliche, we're in it to win it.
Yeah, I think that something that really stood out to me that you said is the economic impact that domestic violence has. So $8.3 billion is potentially the impact that it has in our business community and our economy as a whole. So as business owners, I feel like it's easy sometimes to overlook the impact that domestic violence has in your business, or can have, and kind of think of it as like, well, this is something that happens at home. You know, this isn't something that we need to concern ourselves as a business. But, you know, knowing that people are going home and experiencing domestic violence, they're coming to work, they're still impacted, they're still concerned, like you said, the medical costs, and then just in general, depending upon the abuser, the safety of your employees, or the safety of that victim that's your employee, is something else that can come into play. So what are some things as business owners that we can do? What can the business community do to take a stand, but also to create some mechanisms for within their organization to let folks know that, you know, they support victims? You know, how can they be a resource? What can they do as business owners?
Wow, Randy, that's a great question, because there are multiple opportunities to include, having a policy statement, that you have an open door for people to feel comfortable to say, this is going on for me right now. And so maybe if they need to make adjustments, if possible, within their schedule, or have heightened awareness for if that abuser comes to the workplace, that's helpful to know. We have brochures, we make them available to businesses to distribute them or have them on hand. I always like to go to somewhere, like if it's a restaurant, and if I go into the ladies' room and I see pamphlets and brochures about friends of the family. One restaurant I went to, they had information about our hotline taped to the inside of each door stall within the restroom. And I thought, how awesome is that? If you notice some unusual behavior from some of your employees, maybe just to check in with them to see if everything is okay, if there's anything that you can do to help them. And also, our agency, the department that I'm in, is the Prevention, Education, and Awareness Program. And like I said, we go out and do trainings and give information. We do that for free. And so even virtually now, we welcome every opportunity to set up a time for us to make a presentation to the employees. And, we keep referencing the pandemic. We know that for a lot of people who are victims, being sheltered in is not necessarily a safe place for them. And so people who maybe suspect someone is being abused, check in on those persons safely and periodically. Let them know that our crisis hotline number, 940-382-7273, is available through text, because so many people can't make a phone call if the person is right there. They can't even go into maybe the restroom for fear of being overheard. But you can send a text message real quick. So we've made that available to them as well. Because this is important, let me tell you, we know that it is, but let me give you a statistic here. Last year, our agency helped over 4,405 individuals affected by domestic violence by providing over 94,000 services to those individuals. And so this is something that we continue.
Will you back up and say that number again? Because I think
Yes.
people need to hear this. This is the number of folks that came forward that received services in Denton County. These are the people that we know are impacted, not even the ones that haven't been able to come to services. So what is that number in Denton
Just
County?
in 2019 alone, Denton County Friends of the Family helped over 4,405 individuals affected by domestic violence by providing over 94,000 services. So this is a month of October that we ask for people to recommit by, helping us increase awareness, recommit by even, making donations. All of our services to include, we have a free shelter. Yes, during the pandemic, we had persons in shelter, and the community responded so beautifully to providing us with masks, PPEs for our residents. We provide counseling to both adults and children. We provide legal services. We provide services to those who maybe have had to go to the hospital as a result of that abuse. And we've done some new things because of COVID-19 around that. So October is, we do October every month at our agency, but October is designated as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so we really do a heightened awareness campaign so that we can continue to have our doors remain open, because unfortunately, domestic violence still continues even in the midst of a pandemic. So in every way, be it time as a volunteer, financial resources, helping distribute information, all of those are ways that the community can come together and commit. Now, I told you what my campaign slogan was when I first started with the agency. If you're giving money, I'm not asking for all your money, but I'm asking you for enough to help us save a life. You don't have to give us all of your time, but if you give us 1 hour, that 1 hour may help us save the life of someone who's affected by domestic violence.
Some is better than none.
Absolutely.
Come as you can and come as you are. I think that,
As often as you can.
Yes. And I love what you said about October Domestic Violence Awareness Month being the opportunity to recommit to supporting victims and to making a difference. And I heard a few things stood out that the business community can do. One, just putting brochures or putting the crisis hotline in your building, making it available for your patrons and your staff. That's huge. Bringing your team out to do an education program, or working to put a policy into your employee manual that talks about domestic violence, how you handle it, and if nothing else, at least giving access to the Friends of the Family crisis line, saying, here's what you can do. So that's something as business owners that we can do all year long, but
Absolutely.
October is the time to recommit. Pick one of those things, do all three of those things. But there's also some other events I hear that you have coming up in October. What are some other ways that we can get involved as the community at large and businesses?
Well, I have not come across anyone who does not appreciate a fine gala or gala, whatever your pronunciation is. And so, of course, we're having to do a little differently, but we're so excited about presenting our first virtual gala. And a little bit of the information, I go the wrong way, is behind me. It's October 8th, and it's our 40th anniversary. And so you can learn more about that on our Facebook page as well as our website. Tickets this year are only $25. And if you want to have a fancy meal while you're enjoying the festivities, there's information about how to order in your dinner and eat with us and dine with us while you experience a virtual gala by and support of Denton County Friends of the Family. So that's October 8th. That's a Thursday. I believe it begins at 6:30. And then I mentioned we have conversations that we offer. So October the 15th, which is a Thursday from 1 to 2, we'll be posting that information about our ongoing community conversation, and we'll talk about domestic violence in general and domestic violence as it relates to our Latinx community. Now,
Cassandra, that's available on y'all's Facebook page.
Facebook Live.
They can tune in live, or if they miss the live version, they can come back and connect later on your Facebook page, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
So if everybody at least needs to do that, right? Like,
right.
Go and educate yourself a little bit in the month of October.
Yeah, you can do it live, or you can, like we said, we archive all of the videos, and so on our Facebook page as well as our website is a wealth of knowledge that will bring you up to speed on the realities of domestic violence. Now, for those of you who have that just awesome pampered pooch, we're having our Dogs Against Domestic Violence. We are having it virtually, and it will also be on a Thursday, October 22nd. And so we will have a contest still like we've had in a couple of years for Purple Pride, Best Costume, and Crowd Favorite. And so there are instructions on how to enter into that contest and how to receive some awesome Pampered Pooch prizes.
All
And we
right.
will have a virtual parade via Facebook, our Facebook account. So please, for those of you who have that, just the pooch that looks awesome in purple, dress them up and let us see them, and let the world see them, because again, virtually our audience is far reaching. And so we look forward to that. And then on Thursday, again, most of our events are on Thursday, October 29th, we will have our annual virtual candlelight vigil. And that event is for the purpose of calling out the names of the women who lost their lives at the hands of their intimate partner in 2019. Last year was the largest recorded number within the decade, and there was 174 names that we called out. And so
And
we
that's
don't
just
know.
in Texas. That's
Just in Texas, yes. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, just in Texas. And so we'll name those Texas victims during that candlelight vigil that we'll broadcast Facebook Live from our page on October 29th. And I believe that begins around 3 o'clock. And so please, check in with our website as well as our Facebook page for all of these upcoming events. And there's something in it for everyone. As I mentioned, if check out our page for times that we may be doing virtual trainings. We'll set some dates and people can log in and sign up for those. If you say, well, you know what, my group here, this organization, this church, or this employer, we want to spend an hour or two to hear more about domestic violence, contact us. We're happy to do so. Also, if you're interested in volunteering, go to our volunteer portal. We offer volunteer orientation at least twice a month. And that will, give you an opportunity to give back to the community in which you live. And again, to be that support base for our clients that we serve.
So, Cassandra, if somebody wants to learn more about getting connected to have you come out and host an event for their business, their organization, or their church, or learn about volunteering, what is your website?
Our website is dcfof.org. So it's www.dcf.org.
Perfect.
And our
.org. That's where they can go to get all the info. And then if someone is needing help and maybe they aren't sure what steps to take, aren't really sure what help they need, but they are experiencing domestic violence, what is the number that they can call anonymously and safely, or how can they text?
Okay, I want everyone at this time to pull out your phones. I'm gonna give you a second to do that.
All right.
Everyone has some type of phone. So you can put in your phone crisis line or DCFOF, and you'll want to enter the number 940-382-7273. And in your notes, just in case sometimes we forget things, make a note in there that this can be a number to which they can text and or call.
So they can
940.
number too.
Pardon me?
They can text this number.
Yes. 940-382-7273. Hope everybody has it in their phone.
Got it.
Awesome.
So, Cassandra, I want to thank you for coming on, taking time to educate us about domestic violence and challenge us to recommit ourselves to creating awareness for the women and children and everyone in our community who are impacted. So, is there anything that you want to leave the audience with? I know they need to get out their phones and put that number in, but they've already done that. So is there anything else that we want to leave them with?
There are so many cliche statements I can make, but I'll just say get involved because it's worth it. Every life is worth it. For every person who is a victim, they're worth their community standing behind and assisting. You may not have direct contact, but indirect contact through increasing awareness, through giving financially, making donations to our thrift store, becoming a volunteer. All of that helps because we're in the business of helping save lives, and we can do that through increased awareness and our community support. Our population we serve is in excess of 800,000, and that's growing daily. And we are a staff of less than 100 people, less than 75 even. So it's important for our community to stand behind us. And as our campaign is hashtag take a stand against DV, which is domestic violence, in every way that you can do that. We ask that you commit or recommit to that so that we can eradicate this pandemic within a pandemic.
Thank you so much, Cassandra, for everything you do for our community, not just with Friends of the Family, but just in general as being a Dentonite that gives back and pours so much. So thank you for coming on. For those of you that want to learn more about Friends of the Family or connect with Cassandra, head over to dcfof.org and contact them to learn more. We are excited to continue our conversations throughout the month of October. So we'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday for the Denton Insider. Thank you all for tuning in and have a great week.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. Now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton.
Hey everybody, if you haven't checked it out yet, DentonRadio.com has soft launched a new website and brand. We'd love for you to go and check out the new look, but we also want to walk you through the new website and all the features you can see. So the main thing that we're most excited about is we have this video feed right at the top of the page that's a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week video feed of different Denton performances. Now these are past recordings that we've done here at Denton Radio. We also have some awesome recordings coming at us from Tiny Couch Productions. Thank you, Tiny Couch. If you haven't checked out Tiny Couch, you've got to go see those guys. So 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week feed, and what we're dedicated to as an organization is going forward, we're going to be trying to be inside different Denton venues as much as possible. So we're going to be going to Dan's and Rubber Gloves and Andy's and LSA and recording the shows while they're happening and putting them right here. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're going to have a true window into the Denton music scene. So it's going to be really, really cool. Now just beneath that, we have the This Week in Denton section. And what you can do is scroll through and see all the shows that are happening in Denton that week. And then you can listen to the different songs from the different artists that are playing those shows. And then when you click the green button underneath it, it's going to take you right to discoverdenton.com's calendar page for that show. So you're going to get all the info on where, what, who, how, all that good stuff. And we'll be changing this out every single week. So you're going to have a full section of all the shows that are happening and everybody that's playing where you can go listen to them and check it out. We also still have our podcasts on this page. Everything that we were doing before is still here, but all these new fun features are coming at you. More features as well to come as we get further and further into this soft launch. And whenever we can start booking shows again and everybody's kind of back to normal, we're gonna have a really awesome big launch party and we'll get the final product out there. And we're super, super excited about it. So thank you guys so much for checking it out. Go see it all at dentonradio.com.